What does that mean then? So go into detail a little bit. Is that basically what I want to ask you, Gene, is um, are we going to get visibility of which platforms Performance Max is advertising on?
Yeah, so clarifying that, because that could essentially be a couple things with the asset group reporting. No, we're not going to get, like, if you're meaning, are we going to get, this was the impression, click, spend, conversions for this Performance Max campaign, this specific asset group for shopping, search, YouTube, Discover, Gmail. No. From what I believe, or from what I've read, it's only you can only do that through the script, the
Yeah,
Mike Road script. And I think there's some weird way to do it on like YouTube, not YouTube Studio, Looker, Google Data Studio, where there's like a
yeah, Looker
Performance
Studio.
Max,
Yeah,
yeah, like a channel inside dashboard. But that is super important, because I'm guessing that's the next step because right now it's like even if you're giving me all these new asset group insights, I just want to know where the asset group is spending. So I could take that asset group and, either double down on maybe a shopping campaign or just a search campaign for those specific audience signal search terms, collection page, whatever it may be, and then just turn off this Performance Max campaign. But I think that is the counterintuitive thought here, where if we get that type of granularity where someone doesn't have to actually create a script or install a script, then they would use that and just go more manual, and then not do
yeah.
Performance Max. So that's, yeah, unfortunately, no, that is a good question. I think the only thing that's changing for the asset group reporting is just more segmentation.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the PPC Cave with Gene and me. And today we're going to be doing the Performance Max updates for 2025. Google have recently come out and released some new information about how they're going to improve Performance Max. I know a lot of, well, both sides really. From Google's side, they've been kind of gatekeeping a little bit of the content, a little bit of a black box. We've kind of called Performance Max campaigns over the years. And from an advertiser's perspective, I still know many people that aren't actually using Performance Max campaigns that really don't like to run Performance Max campaigns either for e-commerce or lead gen. So could this be a turning point for Google where, they start to give us more information, open the floodgates a little bit, and kind of get advertisers using Performance Max more? So yeah, Gene, welcome back. It's nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, nice to see you too. We took a little bit of a break despite us always uploading consistently because I got my wisdom tooth taken out. So
How
I'm
you
past
feeling?
that. I feel fine, but man, I do not wish that upon anyone. If you've ever had your wisdom tooth taken out, you understand what I mean.
Wow.
But yeah, I feel good, man, and I'm excited to get into these PMAX updates for 2025. Essentially, this goes into our ongoing series of Google Ads for beginners. Like I say, we're always beginners in some sort or way, so don't feel bad if you haven't really looked into this. I know I've looked somewhat into it, and I do want to shout out Etchell. Thomas Etchell on LinkedIn. He and Adrian Decker are one of the people that really are on the forefront of figuring these things out for us. So, yeah, I just want to do a little shout out there. But yeah, if there's nothing else, I could go straight into it and we could kind of bounce ideas and kind of get your reaction, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, before you do, I mean, how are you running any Performance Max? I mean, that's a silly question because I know you are, but how many Performance Max campaigns are you running? I mean, give us a little breakdown in terms of, your point of view. Are you pro
Yeah.
Performance Max? Do you not like Performance Max? Did you prefer standard shopping, smart shopping when it was around? I mean, give me your lowdown.
Yeah, I think I do run a lot of Performance Max. I would say all of my clients have some type of Performance Max campaign within the account. I initially did not like Performance Max. It reminded me a lot of Google Smart Shopping. And now it's like totally different from where it's started. There are some similarities of what Ryan alluded to earlier of this being a black box where transparency is opaque. But I think with these 2025 updates, we're moving forward into a place where Performance Max can be given a little bit more trust in regards to what we're seeing and where we're seeing things. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me, really. I mean, some of my clients are using Performance Max, some are still using standard shopping. I've tried Performance Max for lead generation, and probably for one or two clients, we're actually getting some really good leads come through, you know. But I think now is the time when I'm actually going to, at least for lead generation, start gravitating away from Performance Max and more to segmenting individual campaigns. So now that we've used, you know, the we often talk about the Mike Rhodes PMax script. Now that I can see, okay, these are the channels that we're actually getting the leads from, the conversions from, I'm going to double down on that. So I have one client where we were running Performance Max, and we still are right now, but in the on the horizon, we're going to be switching over to search and display and maybe video. So that's cool. But for the most part, for my e-commerce clients, it's kind of 50-50. Some are using standard shopping, some are using Performance Max, but there's one client where we were on standard shopping and we were doing okay. But as soon as I turned Performance Max on, it took that account to the next level. Like, you know, the client was really happy and, you know, we're very pro Performance Max. So I think it's a situational thing. I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think for certain businesses, for certain accounts, you know, Performance Max can work quite well. Whereas for others, I think standard shopping or search or a very segmented, you know, approach could work well. So, you know, as much as we want to just kind of duplicate the same results and have one campaign across all the different clients, I think it's very niche. And in my experience, it depends on the client and the budget, really, if it's going to work or not.
Absolutely. And you know, that is essentially what Google Ads is it's going to depend. You know, it's going to depend if it's going to be for one client where you could utilize Performance Max or the plethora of other campaign types that Google Ads provides. But I think with these updates, we'll be more inclined to at least take a look and test Performance Max for the majority of clients we have. And I do want to preface that these first 3 points that we go over are still in beta. So it's still testing. They're not rolling it out for all accounts. If you want to see if any of these first 3 points are in your accounts, I would suggest going to the actual highest spender account that you probably have, and that would probably be in beta. I doubt that they're going to roll out these features for, you know, an account. Maybe I'm wrong, an account that has low spend. So, but you know, getting into it, and I want to just go through all three of these beta features quickly, and then I'll have Ryan pick and choose which one he wants to comment on. But the first thing is search themes. And if you're familiar with Performance Max, we understand what search themes are. This is in your audience signal. You could go in and edit the search themes for whatever niche, product, search term, or even just essentially what product or offering you're selling. You could put that in, and this is basically training the algorithm to be a little bit more relevant. But beforehand, before these beta features, advertisers couldn't add search couldn't really add search themes to, you know, help Google understand like the relevancy of those search themes, because there was like no way to really measure the impact on the performance. But with this beta update, Google is adding, if you're on video, I'm quoting usefulness, because we always have to quote things when Google is adding something that they're saying, oh, this is your optimization score, or this is the recommended, or this is, in this case, useful. But they're adding a usefulness indicator to show how well our search themes contribute to that performance of the asset group. And perhaps this could help advertisers maybe refine more of Google's AI towards that relevant keyword. But we have to take it with a grain of salt because, like I said before, what Google seems or thinks is useful doesn't necessarily mean that it is for us, right? So we take this with a grain of salt. Let me move on to the next two, and then Ryan, I'll kind of ask you what you think about these three. And the next thing where I actually think this is super helpful is search term source insights. Before, advertisers could see search terms that are triggered by ads, but very limited visibility into their origin. Origin, what I mean of that is like which asset group, campaign, or creative caused that match to happen. Now in this beta feature that's being rolled out, a new column in search term insights. So you would just go into that asset group, and then on the left hand side, click insights for that performance max campaign. You could see basically the origin of the query. So you could see, if what URL it came from, creative assets, or even search themes. So I think that just provides a little bit more transparency in what's driving search queries within Performance Max. And the last beta feature is the targeting controls. Before, Performance Max had no age-based exclusions. Advertisers really had to rely on the audience signals, which were obviously a little bit more less precise. And before, device targeting wasn't available, meaning you couldn't control whether your ad showed on mobile, desktop, or tablets. But this feature is super, in my opinion, important, and it's more like I will believe it when I see it, just because I've been so used to not having any control over age exclusions or device targeting. But now they're saying that there is beta update for the age exclusions to allow advertisers to block age groups like 18 through 24 or 65, and not just target, because we can target, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're blocking it, right? In an audience signal. I've clicked in the audience demographic, women, and then go through the insights and be like, all these women are still clicking, they're saying that the beta feature is you'll actually be able to not only target and click, okay, which demographic of age you want, or if it's gender, whatever it may be, but you could actually block. And so along with that is the device targeting also, where you could customize for mobile, desktop, or tablets, essentially improving control of where your ads appear. So that being a mouthful of all these beta features, Ryan, any of these points intrigue you or you're skeptical on?
Yeah, definitely. I think the main one for me is exactly the same as you. Device targeting really gets me excited as well because, for so long we were unable to add bidding adjustments to device targeting and things like that. So I think, we could obviously exclude desktop and tablet and run fully mobile, mobile, which would be really good, for certain accounts. So I think that is really probably one of the most standout features for me in this update, really. Probably might go under the radar for a lot of advertisers. But I think for me, that's definitely one that's really exciting. And yeah, I see the usefulness indicator being similar to the ad strength copy. When you write your ad copy, you'll see the ad strength, and it's usually poor or average or excellent. So I kind of see it being the same type of thing as that. I mean, I've not actually seen it firsthand yet. And Gene, I think you might be right. I think the top advertisers with the biggest budgets will probably get the beta features first, and then it'll slowly start rolling out to everybody else. But yeah, I think the usefulness indicator, I don't know how useful it will be, in all honesty. I don't really tend to take too much note from Google when it's, recommendation score, optimization score, or ad strength score and things like that, I don't really tend to focus too much on it. So I'm not sure how useful it will be, but I guess it's better than nothing. Search term source insights as well. That could be quite interesting to see, to see where these search terms are coming from. And, just I think it's just the whole thing is opening up that black box a little bit, which I don't understand why they did in the first place, why they didn't just kind of say, this is, full transparency, full visibility of, okay, we're advertising on Performance Max, but it's also Gmail, YouTube, display, search, shopping. It'd be cool to see, okay, well, we have $150 spend. $50, excuse me, was spent on like the shopping channel, and then $10 was spent on video and 10 on display and 20 on search or something like that. At least then we have, okay, this is where, and maybe even to be able to weight that a little bit, like a slider, and say, okay, 25% there, 30% here, or something like that. That would have been cool with Performance Max, but we didn't really get that. We got a campaign type that was very automated, and very little we could do to control the direction of it. So I think the thing is here is that they're kind of opening that up a little bit, which is exciting to see.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. Like, we didn't have any of these tools, and if we had these tools, you would have to essentially put in the Google Sheets that we always talk about, the script. And most of these things that they're talking about right now, the script has been doing for a good amount of time, and even more so, more than what they're doing here. And I think Ryan will have some questions later. And I think the script is still important if you're really trying to, well, not only if you're really trying to, but if you have a lot of Performance Max budget in your campaigns, it will behoove you to understand, the display network spend versus the shopping versus the search and all these things. So definitely agree there. But yeah, so moving forward, is there anything else on the beta side, Brian, before we move forward?
No, I think I'll wait till you
Okay,
get through the next section and then chip in again with my thoughts. So
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and guys, again, don't freak out. Don't come for us if you haven't seen any of those first points. Like I said, that was beta features. These points that are coming up, I have about four of these new points are actually confirmed features, which are rolling out, which I've had actual eyes on accounts that I manage through Performance Max. And spoiler alert, it's gonna be the majority of all this is gonna be in your insights on the left-hand side. When you go to the Performance Max campaign, just check insights and you'll see all these. It's gonna get longer scroll. Back then there was only 2 or 3 insights you could look at. Now it's like 5 or 6 or 7. So moving forward, the one thing that's confirmed that's rolling out globally that you might be able to see already are asset group reporting. And back then I didn't really care because I thought asset groups should just be one catch-all campaign. But now that I've kind of moved from the lazy man build, as I would say, with one catch-all, and have kind of segmented my asset groups within Performance Max of at least 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 10 different asset groups, just a lot of asset groups. You could begin to break down the performance of asset group reporting, because before, advertisers couldn't export asset group performance separately. There's no segmentation with the asset groups. All the data was blended together. But now, downloadable performance reports for asset groups inside the Google interface itself without basically installing a script is one of the things they're rolling out or have rolled out, and the new segmentation options. Example of conversion based, time based, network based, and then more granular insights into which assets perform best. So you could go into and look at the actual assets, if it's, I don't know, your call us, or your structured snippets, or your images, or your videos. I haven't seen too much of that, but that's something that I will have to verify, because a lot of these updates, sometimes I see an update and it's gone. You know what I'm saying? You see it for a week and then the next, it's not even there anymore. So we have to verify these things. But from a higher executive point of view, these are all good things, to see. Next is this is also important, is the campaign level negative keywords. Before, negative keywords were only available at the account level, so you couldn't really exclude irrelevant terms for individual PMax campaigns. Now you could do it at the campaign level and have up to 100 negative keywords per Performance Max campaign, which will facilitate more precise targeting and also helps reduce waste and improves your efficiency. Next is high value new customer acquisition goals. This was something that I never really used just because, I never really cared to only drive to new customer goals or new customer acquisitions. But if you're heavy in lead gen or if, e-commerce for me, it's like you have sometimes a longer sales cycle where a new customer acquired could take up to 30, 60 days for them to actually convert. So I don't really put that in. But if you only want to show, for new customers, this is one. The feature before was only available for like select advertisers, but then there was no detailed reporting on how many new customers you could acquire just through your Performance Max campaign. But now it's available to all advertisers. It'll let you prioritize and track new customers, and it adds almost better reporting to how well Performance Max is for just new customer acquisition. Last, brand exclusions for search ads. Before, brand exclusions applied to both search and shopping. If you excluded a brand, it wouldn't show up at all in either of shopping placement or search placement. The update now is brand exclusions only apply to search text ads. So what that essentially means, actionable, is if you have shopping ads, if shopping ads may still show for excluded brands, but it's giving Google more control over branded shopping results. So you could segment search exclusions to only search text ads, and then have your shopping ad that could still show up for those that you excluded in your search only text ads. That was a mouthful, but yeah, I think these are good. It's something that we want to monitor and make sure, and if anyone out there has seen these, definitely comment under this video and be like, yeah, I saw this, or just, this is kind of weird, or you're wrong, like just give us comments. I want to see engagement. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, campaign level negatives obviously really stands out again. I think it's something that we've wanted for ages. I mean, Google released account level negatives for Performance Max campaigns, and that's okay. But if you've got multiple asset groups where, they're trying to do different jobs, and each asset group is for a different brand category, product category, or individual purposes, then account level negatives aren't good. So campaign level negatives much better now. I think now that we can kind of segment that a little bit better, rather than just every Performance Max campaign you create, these are the negatives. Now we can say, well, this could be this, and this could be that. So that really opens up the game a little bit, I think, which is cool. And then, I mean, high value customer goals, I don't really think much is going to change there. It could just be, really good sounding and sexy from Google, but ultimately, how do they really know what a new customer is? I mean, I don't really see, we know that attribution from Google is really bad, in my opinion, as well. I think it's got like a 60 to 70% hit rate, really, of accuracy. But, if somebody has gone to Facebook and then they see a Google ad and they click on that, is that a new customer? Well, maybe not, because they might have already visited the website through Facebook, but Google doesn't know that, right? So it's going based off what they know. So this person has searched for them on Google, they click on the ad, but Google has no like evidence or history that they visited the website before through social. So I don't really believe in new customer goals, new customer acquisition, all that kind of stuff, because, attribution from Google Ads is terrible. So I'm just going to ignore that one. I think it just sounds sexy. And, for some people that aren't really clued up on Google Ads, definitely none of our listeners, because if you follow Gene and I, you are clued up. So yeah, don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I'm just going to scoot over that one and kind of ignore it. Yeah, asset group reporting sounds interesting. What does that mean then? So go into detail a little bit. Is that basically what I want to ask you, Gene, is are we going to get visibility of which platforms Performance Max is advertising on?
Yeah, so clarifying that, because that could essentially be a couple things with the asset group reporting. No, we're not going to get, like, if you're meaning, are we going to get, this was the impression, click, spend, conversions for this Performance Max campaign, this specific asset group for shopping, search, YouTube, Discover, Gmail. No. From what I believe or from what I've read, it's only you can only do that through the script, the
Yeah,
micro script. And I think there's some weird way to do it on like YouTube, not YouTube Studio, Looker, Google's Data Studio, where there's like a
yeah, Looker
Performance
Studio.
Max,
Yeah,
yeah, like a channel inside dashboard. But that is super important, because I'm guessing that's the next step because right now it's like, even if you're giving me all these new asset group insights, I just want to know where the asset group is spending, So I could take that asset group and, either double down on maybe a shopping campaign or just a search campaign for those specific audience signal, search terms, collection page, whatever it may be, and then just turn off this Performance Max campaign. But I think that is the counterintuitive thought here, where if we get that type of granularity where someone doesn't have to actually create a script or install a script, then they would use that and just go more manual, and then not do
yeah,
Performance Max. So that's, yeah, unfortunately, no, that is a good question. I think the only thing that's changing for the asset group reporting is just more segmentation options. You could see like what asset group performed well with conversions, if it's be, time based, network based, and insights. I believe I haven't looked, but I think you could see like impressions and clicks for specific asset groups, but not on the channel level, unfortunately.
okay, okay. Well, I appreciate you answering that question that I had because I think we all want that. We all want to see where the budget is going, and if you don't have the script, you're never going to know, really. So for me, as a kind of a manual guy, I would definitely recommend that. I think it's Agency Savvy. I think Mike Rhodes, PMax Script. Go take a look at that. Mike does such a great job of walking you through how to add that script into your Google Ads accounts. And you can also do a paid version where I think it's updated more frequently. And you can also do it for your manager client center for Google Ads where you house all your clients. So definitely take a look at that. I mean, Gene, let's hear your thoughts then, just before we wrap up. I mean, what are your thoughts about all these releases? Are you on board with them? Is there anything that really stands out for you? Yeah, what's your take?
Yeah, yeah, I think the campaign level negative keywords opens the door for multiple Performance Max campaigns that are segmented. I like the idea of where we're headed with asset group reporting, just because blended there's you could have, I don't know how, I think 100 asset groups. I may be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a lot of asset groups to just say these are segmented, but not really because the reporting is a whole. So the fact that they're trying to start with something where these asset groups could have individual statistics of performance is a good way to provide more transparency. The brand exclusions, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really use brand exclusions as much. Maybe I should, just because, I didn't even care to use too much of the campaign negative just because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use the back then it was campaign negative or account level negatives, but it's like I don't know what I don't know. So for me to exclude something, am I just stepping on the toes of the algorithm? Shouldn't the algorithm know what converts and what doesn't convert? So why do I have to create a negative for it? So other
that's a
than
good point.
obviously branded, because this branded is going to get you more conversions. So, but yeah, having those things where you could go high funnel and not rely on, your brands basically just showing up on Performance Max, we could get more high funnel and reach new customers that don't already know our brand. I think that's valuable. What about you?
Yeah, kind of the same thing, really. I mean, if we're looking at everything, I think the one that really, I like the look of, definitely device targeting, new
Yeah.
targeting controls. If they can do something for audiences as well, locations, and really have the whole thing that we have access to in search, where it's like devices, locations, it's audiences, then I think that's going to really help. And, to a degree, they have that now with demographics if they're going to release the age exclusions, which is really good, so that could be really cool. I think that out of everything is the one that really stands out for me the most, and definitely campaign level negatives. I think that's going to help as well going forward. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on, why this matters? I mean, where do you think, well, I guess what we're saying is Google's definitely heading towards a direction of they're opening up more of what Performance Max has to offer, and they're expanding on that as well. But why do you think this matters?
I think all of it is the ploy to really not only use Performance Max as the main campaign type for Google Ads, but I think there's also something to be said about the AI component of Performance Max and just Google Ads in general. Um, AI is not cheap. If you're in the news, you understand the DeepSeek and the Chat GPT and OpenAI, all the saga remains, and also even just our US president really allocating a lot to AI. So I think there needs to be a return on investment for something that is a campaign type that's gonna be, in my opinion, fully automated somehow, some way, you know. So I think with that, a lot of the times we don't understand how AI is working. So to mitigate or bridge the gap of somewhat providing us transparency with these rolled out Performance Max updates, it'll some people it'll kind of bring the guard down to be like, okay, well, let's just try Performance Max, even though I have a shopping campaign that I've been running for 10 years that's doing amazing. Because at the end of the day, human nature is always, especially if performance is on the line, human nature is always along the fine line of how can I trade okay for good and how can I trade good for great. So that curiosity right there, I think Google is playing on that and giving us little breadcrumbs of, hey, we're being more transparent here. We're giving you these features. You know where the asset groups are spent, or the spend on asset groups now, or things like that, the reporting. So I think that's kind of leading into a bigger thing in the future.
Interesting. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of say about, these updates before we kind of wrap the episode up, or should we end it and move on?
Yeah, let's end it and move on. I think we're
Yeah.
good.
Great, cool. Well, that was another episode from us, talking about the new recent updates for Performance Max. We do these from time to time where it's like Google Ads updates and news and things like that. So, we'll definitely keep doing them because we enjoy, kind of giving you the latest, tips and tricks and techniques, and obviously new releases from Google Ads. So, yeah, Gene, where can people find you if they want to learn more about your services and offers?
Yeah, you could find me at genevillanos.com. It'll show all my social medias, and I'm trying to make my website as good as Ryan's. But yeah, genevillanos.com.
Cool. And you can find me at ryanfentonppc.co.uk. And yeah, we try to keep all channels up and running as much as possible. Most of it is on me from a social perspective, but Gene does such a great job of editing these YouTube videos, the podcast on Shop Spotify and things like that, and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, try and keep those up to date. But yeah, we'll be back next Monday, I believe, Mountain Time, wherever that is. Probably Swiss mountains, the Alps or something. I don't know.
I wish.
But yeah, if there's nothing else, then we'll see you all next time.